Hey fifth graders, Miss Shames here, and today we're going to dive into Module 7, Lesson 10, still learning about coordinate planes, lines on a coordinate plane, and the rules about them. All right, so our teaching point for today is that mathematicians compare the lines and patterns generated by addition rules. So how are you going to know if you're successful today? Well, you're going to be able to identify coordinate pairs of a line on a coordinate plane by the end of today's lesson. You're also going to be able to identify a rule that describes the relationship between the x and y coordinates of all the points on that line. And lastly, you're going to be able to compare and contrast lines on a coordinate plane in relation to each other, and you're going to be able to make a connection between their positions on the coordinate plane and their rules. So some vocabulary that we're going to be seeing today and you should be striving to use in your mathematical writing and speech are x-coordinate, pattern, rule, coordinate pair, y-coordinate, and line. So keep your eye out for these words and try to use them in our lesson today. All right, let's get started. We're going to dive into the learning.
Welcome back, Zerner. Whoa! Take a look at line B. When the x-coordinate is 3, what is the y-coordinate? The x-coordinate 3 represents a distance of 3 from the origin along the x-axis, here. Let's follow this grid line up from the x-axis at 3 until we intersect line B. This point on line B has an x-coordinate of 3. If we follow the grid lines across to the y-axis, we can see it has a y-coordinate of 8. So when x is 3, y is 8. Keep going. Here are some more x-coordinates. What are the corresponding y-coordinates on line B? Use the grid lines to help. You got this.
Okay, so I'm going to do one, and then you're going to work in your groups or with a partner to solve the others. So when the x-coordinate is 5, we want to know what the y-coordinate would be. So I'm going to go over to 5 on the x-axis, and then see where it intercepts line B. Okay, so it intercepts right here. And that y-coordinate is 10. So go ahead and turn and talk to a partner and try to figure out the y-coordinates when the x-coordinate is 8 and when the x-coordinate is 10. Pause the video if you need. All right, well, when the x-coordinate is 8, that means we're here. Let's figure out the y-coordinate. I'm going to go up to line B and see where it intercepts. Right here. And the y-coordinate would be 13. Because this would be 10, 11, 12, 13. When the x-coordinate is 10, over to 10, and I'm going to go up to see what the y-coordinate would be. So here's the point on line B where the x-coordinate is 10. And I can see that the y-coordinate would be 15. Yay. So I'm just going to quickly put in the coordinate pairs for each point. So this would be 5, 10, 8, 13. Remember the x-coordinate comes first, the y-coordinate comes second. 10, 15.
I'm seeing a pattern in the coordinate pairs for line B. Can you come up with the rule for line B?
All right, you guys pause the video and turn and talk to a partner to try to figure out the pattern or the rule for line B. Here's a hint that'll help you think about it. Look at the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate and think about the relationship. see if there's a common relationship in each one. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to turn and talk to a partner and figure out the rule for line B. Okay, well, I'm noticing when the y coordinate is 3, when the x coordinate is 3, the y coordinate is 8. When the x coordinate is 5, the y coordinate is 10. I'm noticing that each time you're adding 5 to x to get y. 3 plus 5 is 8, 5 plus 5 is 10, 8 plus 5 is 13, and 10 plus 5 is 15. So let's say the rule is y is 5 more than x.
Nice. Let's see if you can figure out the rule for line C. I know you've got this. Find the coordinate pairs on line C.
So in order to figure out the rule for line C, I'm going to first have to identify some of its coordinate pairs. So when the x coordinate is 0, the y coordinate, so that means I'm not moving anywhere on the x-axis, the y coordinate is 10. When the x coordinate is 2, let's go here to 2, the y coordinate is going up 12. Pause the video and turn and talk to a partner. What's the y coordinate when the x coordinate is 5? Well, when the x coordinate is 5, I'm going to go up to line C and see what the y coordinate would be. The y coordinate would be 15. Yay.
Here are the coordinate pairs on line C. What is the rule for line C?
All right, guys, pause the video, turn and talk to a partner. What do you think the rule for line C is? Again, a hint would be look at the relationship between x and y and see if you notice a pattern. Pause the video to turn and talk to a partner. So I'm noticing in each coordinate pair, if I start with x, I'm adding 10 to get y. 10 is 10 more than 0, 12 is 10 more than 2, and 15 is 10 more than 5. So I could say y is 10 more than x. Yay.
Line C's rule is y is 10 more than x. Let's try one more. Here is line D. First, find the corresponding y coordinates, then come up with the rule for line D.
So I think you can do all 3 on your own. So pause the video, work with a partner, and try to find the coordinate pairs or the y coordinates for when the x coordinates are 5, 7, and 12. All right, let me go over this. So when the x coordinate is 5, I'm going to go up to line D and see what the y coordinate would be. So that would be 2. When the x coordinate is 7, I'm going to go up to line D and try to find the y coordinate, and that would be 4. And when the x coordinate is 12, I'm going to go up to line D and see that the y coordinate, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the y coordinate would be 9. Yay. All right, you guys, pause the video to write a rule for line D. Remember, think about the pattern between x and y. in each coordinate pair. So I'm noticing for each value of y, it's 3 less than the value of x. So 5 minus 3 is 2, 7 minus 3 is 4, and 12 minus 3 is 9. So I'm going to say y is 3 less than x. Yay.
All of these points are on line D. Each y-coordinate is 3 less than its corresponding x-coordinate. So line D's rule is y is 3 less than x. Let's look at lines B, C, and D. Do these lines intersect?
So what do you guys think? Do these lines intersect? Yes or no? Go ahead and type into the chat on Zoom or let your teacher call on you. So these lines actually do not intersect. I can see that they would go on and on forever and they would never touch. So no, they don't intersect. Yay.
Lines B, C, and D do not intersect, even if we extended them. That means they are parallel.
That's right. Let's look at the rules for each of our lines. What operation is used in the rules for lines B and C? What operation is used in the rule for line D?
So let's think about this. Y is 5 more than x. So if I were to translate that, with my students, we've been talking about translating to math speak. So if I were to translate this to math speak, that means y equals 5 more than x. So that means 5 plus x. Pause the video and turn and talk to a partner. How would I translate y is 10 more than x to math speak? So to make an equation out of this, I would write that's y equals, means equals, 10 more than x. So that means 10 plus x. So in each case, in each equation, I added to x to get y. So the operation I used was addition. So let's look at these. Okay, this one looks right. We added to x to solve for y. We didn't subtract from x, we didn't multiply x, and we didn't divide x. Let's think about this one. Y is 3 less than x. I'm going to translate this to math speak. I'm going to say y is 3 less than x. That means I'm starting with x and taking away 3. So y equals x minus, that's taking away or making it less, y equals x minus 3. So what operation did I use? Well, I used subtraction.
We used addition in the rules for lines B and C. In line B, we added 5 to the x-coordinate to solve for y. In line C, we added 10 to the x-coordinate to solve for y. But with line D, we used subtraction. We subtracted 3 from each x-coordinate to solve for the corresponding y. Where does line D lie on the coordinate plane in relation to the other lines?
So I'm starting to notice a pattern. We started with line B, and that was 5 more, y was 5 more than x. And line C was 10 more than x. Notice line C got higher on the coordinate plane than line B. And then with line D, we subtracted from x to get y. And notice line D is lower on the coordinate plane. So I think there's a relationship between that, and I want to notice those patterns. So line D is below line B and line C. And it makes sense because we subtracted.
Line D falls below line B and line C. We used subtraction to find the y coordinates, so the y coordinates in line D are less than the x coordinates.
All right, you guys, head over to Desmos or go into your independent packets to get some practice. See you soon.